Hey guys, welcome to the first HarleQuest devlog since the Kickstarter. Kickstarter finished a week ago. I'm really happy with the result. We were able to get the Switch stretch goal as well, so thanks to everyone who contributed to that. So I guess the first thing to talk about is the project roadmap. So this is everything we need to do between now and when the game actually launches. So over the last couple of weeks, I've just been breaking everything down into bite-sized chunks of work called milestones. And the idea is that each milestone will take roughly 2 weeks, and we've got 39 milestones to complete between now and when the game's finished. So my idea here is to have much more rapid milestones with the 2-week period. Previously, we were doing 1 milestone and 1 demo build, and they would always go together. So every time we hit a milestone, we'd also release a demo. What we're going to do going forward instead is every 3 milestones, there'll be a new demo build for people to try. That way, we're not constantly rushing to try and get demo builds ready, but we are able to kind of orient ourselves around the milestones in between the demo builds. I think that's a pretty good way to break it down. So here are the milestones that we have so far. This isn't set in stone. It is all the content and everything that we know we want to put into the game. It kind of defines the scope of the game, but the order that we do these milestones in might change around a little bit depending on artists' availability and various other factors. But all along the process, we're going to be relating everything that happens to the milestones. So if we have a new milestone coming up and we realise we're not going to hit it because there's a delay, we might swap out a different milestone, but we'll always track the work against the milestones that we're trying to hit. So the main highlights of the milestones are, you'll see that in January, we're going to release our feature complete alpha build. That one is all the systems, all the weapons, and all the logic in the game. All that stuff's going to be locked in at that point, more or less. There might be bug fixes, but in terms of the actual features of what they do, that will be set in stone from that point. And then the next one is over in August, much closer to actually launching the game, we will be content complete. And that means that all the levels are done, all the enemies are done, all the bosses are done. We basically have the full game at that point. And everything between content complete and full release is just a case of testing. It's a case of making sure that all the bugs are squashed. Obviously, with this being a physical release, you can't take it back once it goes out the door. So I can see if we do end up changing our final deadline, I suspect it'll be because we just want to make sure that the game is high enough quality. If it comes to that, we'll let you guys know and you'll be able to see where we're at the time, and we'll be able to communicate based on these milestones rather than it just being a hand-wavy when it's done kind of thing. Hopefully that'll help everyone understand where we're at with the project. So that's all the kind of project management stuff that I've been doing. It's nice to get this all kind of done up front so that I'm not scrambling as we're working on it to estimate times and when we're going to dispatch work to the contractors. So yeah, that's project management stuff. So the first milestone we want to hit is high performance. We want to get the game feeling smooth to play. We want it to be an enjoyable experience for people. It was one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we got from testers during the Kickstarter campaign and testers in person when I brought the game down to an event in Norwich. It just feels too slow. It's too sluggish. There's lag as you're playing through the demo. We were aware that that was there, but just on the time frame we had, we couldn't really do anything about it. So now we are starting to become more familiar with the Dreamcast hardware, figuring out the best way to arrange things so things can run fast. So here you'll see we have the demo, 2.5 demo, and this is the frame rate it runs at. You'll see it's kind of chugging along. It's more or less consistent, so your brain can kind of figure out how long it's going to take to do actions and compensate, but it's still not like a good experience. And then since then, we've been able to get this far. So this is with no enemies on the screen just now. It's running at 60 frames a second, and you'll see that that's pretty smooth. But if you add enemies, it quite quickly will go down to 30 frames a second. The more enemies you add, eventually it goes down to 20 frames a second. We can pretty much consistently hit 20, but there's still lots we can do to improve the performance. I've been talking to a few other Dreamcast developers to figure out where their experience has been with specifically rendering, just to make things render fast enough in the game. And we found some pretty good leads, so I think we'll be able to make that run a lot faster on there. We're still aiming for 30 for the final game. I think it'll be 30 on a 60Hz display or 25 on a 50Hz display, so we're basically running at half speed versus the refresh rate. I think that's a realistic goal because obviously we have to add more content than what we have in the demo, so I doubt we'd be able to hit 60Hz. That would be amazing if we could run at 60 FPS, but it's unlikely. So we'll move on from the high performance milestone after we get these things sorted out. So my aim is to get that done, the high performance milestone, basically over this week. So by the end of this week, we'll know where we're at with performance. But yeah, that's what we've been working on. So if you've got any questions, leave them below in the comments. You can jump on our Discord, the Jester's Court. And of course, I'll be doing backer updates for the bigger milestones as we go. So if you're a Kickstarter backer, you'll get updates from me that way too. All right, cheers guys. See you next time.